guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm gonna talk about this highly requested episode, how to become bilingual, how to learn multiple languages, and how to have your kids be effectively bilingual. This is something that many parents care a lot about. I currently live in Singapore, and Singapore is a multicultural, multilingual country, and Sebastian goes to a preschool with lots of international parents. And the concern here is for their kids to learn better Mandarin. China, as a geopolitical leader in the region, everybody recognizes that Mandarin going forward, Chinese going forward, is going to be an extremely important language for business. Anyone knowing that language will have significant career advantages in the future. And I've noticed that with a lot of my friends in the US. A lot of parents from an Asian descent usually want to impart Chinese to their kids. It's very difficult to create a good multilingual environment or even bilingual environment at home. So my friend Hannah started this company with her co-founder. She was a management consultant for many years in the APAC region. So she's quite effectively bilingual, but when she moved back to the US, she really wanted to create a tool that would be easier for her kids and her friends' kids to learn Mandarin more easily. So they created this line of products. These are the Habbi Habbi books. These are audiobooks, and it comes with a audio wand. I just press on the middle button and it turns on.
Welcome. Let's start reading.
There's only 3 buttons, making it super easy. On and off in the middle, and then up and down for volume. It has sort of been like the perfect solution for bilingual learning for kids under the age of 5 or 6. As much as I want to show good content to my kids, I don't want them to have too much screen time. Especially for Kiki, who's only 1.5.
猎豹 cheetah 斑马 zebra lion 狮子
It's literally so fun that I just kind of want to hog this pen and play with it. The quality of the print is phenomenal. The fact that it's a single pen that does not require you to like buy any additional attachments or accessories. When you expand the pack, you just buy new books. And the fact that they don't have that many buttons makes it so user-friendly. So Hannah actually sent this to me as a gift. It's not an ad. There's basic books like this, Animal, Plants, and Places, which is perfect for really little kids. Kiki is 1.5. He's in the phase of, loving animals. I love my body, which is amazing for Sebastian, who is a little older.
Hand.
He's 4.5. Have sentences.
我有2条飞毛腿 My legs are fat.
It is so funny because I posted this on my Instagram. A bunch of Caucasian dancer friends, adults, okay, who pinged me and asked me, oh my god, where can I get these books? They actually seriously want to use it for their own learning. Actually, my helper, who's Filipino, and she also wants to learn some Mandarin, has found this to be tremendously helpful in her own learning. So there's something to be said about the universality of a well-designed product that's intuitive, simple, and beautiful. Hattie and Lulu's worldwide search. This is slightly more advanced. It's story-based, but what's interesting is
They looked under the Eiffel Tower, but it wasn't there. 他们搜寻了埃菲尔铁塔的塔底，围巾不在那里。
And then when you tap on the picture itself,
埃菲尔铁塔 Eiffel Tower 铁塔真高啊 It's 快过来这边 Come over here.
I love that there are all these hidden stories, so your kid can actually spend many hours reading and rereading this, and then they know where the parts with these like special hidden tidbits. And then global celebrations, like basically and of course, like boys love this. All the names of all the different kinds of vehicles. Hannah, this is like freaking brilliant. I mean, Sebastian loves this. Sailboat.
帆船 sailboat.
Oh, aircraft carrier.
航空母舰 aircraft carrier.
It's so cool. So I highly recommend that you guys check it out. Congrats, Hannah, on the amazing product. I just really love it, and I hope you guys keep creating and adding to this series. Okay, so this episode is about how to create bilingual kids and how to create a family environment that is appropriate and helpful for having bilingual kids. I actually did a version of this in Mandarin. A lot of people think about people who are multilingual and they think they're talented in learning languages. Yes, talent to a certain extent, of course, is helpful for anything from, learning, dancing, or singing, or whatever. Like, yes, talent plays a big part. A lot of what cannot be separated from talent is the kind of exposure you had.
Are you still there? Let's keep reading.
No, thank you.
Goodbye. See you soon.
But what's later on perceived as talent, a lot of it is actually influences and the environment you had when you were a kid. So I would break down language ability into 3 parts. Number 1, having a multilingual environment when you were a child or as you're growing up. For me, because I grew up with my grandma, I was born in Hong Kong. My parents were from Fujian. So after I was born, I was raised by my grandmother in Fujian. I spoke Fujianese. And when I moved to Hong Kong when I was 3, I learned Cantonese in kindergarten. And then I moved to Singapore when I was 7, and then I learned Mandarin and English when I was 7 with a very strong Singaporean accent. When I moved to US for college when I was 18, I learned American accented English. I moved to China, Beijing, when I was 30, and I learned Beijing, kind of proper Chinese. I would say it's been a very long journey, but the key takeaway here is I've had very many significant changes in location and environment when I was young. And more critically is that I had a multilingual environment growing up. It's exposure to dialects that has been critical and formative to my ability to pick up languages in the future. Nowadays, a lot of people think that dialects are not good because, you only have so much time, you should focus on the languages that matter. And that's, in the US, it's like 110% English and maybe like 10% Spanish. That is not true. I think when you're young, your exposure to other dialects and languages actually expands your overall brain capacity for picking up languages in the future. This is highly supported by science. Anecdotally, if you read Trevor Noah's autobiography, you notice that for him, he's so famous for being multilingual and very talented at accents. He grew up in South Africa. Having the right language and the right accent was critical to his survival. Number 2, sensitivity to music. While this is a point that is not super obvious, you will notice that a lot of musicians pick up languages more easily. And what is a language except for sounds that make up certain words in a particular structure and order? Your vocabulary describes the things and the actions, and then you have grammar that put things together, and then you have a sound, the type of musical language that defines what that language is. So I was born into a musical family. Both my parents were professional musicians, and I played musical instruments growing up, and I love to sing. So naturally, being able to hear the nuances of sounds, how you pronounce, how you enunciate, those nuances make a huge difference in accent and language acquisition. And then third, this is even less obvious, is the ability to imitate body movement. Okay, hear me out for why that is important. If you watch any accent coaches on YouTube, you realize that what they talk about over and over again is a visualization of how a particular accent is placed in your mouth and in your oral cavity. So for example, don't make me do a British accent because I don't have it, but the British accent, like Keira Knightley, talks very much through her teeth like this, and the accent's very forward, so you have a visualization of what that looks like. The American accent is like further back in the throat and it rolls. 北方人说话也是比较靠后。I can't do it now that I'm put in the spot. 比如说您说话的时候，这个声音是尽量往后，然后是这样卷的。南方人说话就会比较这样，就是比较扁，然后鼻音很重，然后要把这个压扁。So if you're able to have these visualizations, it's very helpful in picking up accents. I've noticed that these visualizations became easier after I learned dancing. So I was actually a full-time Latin dancer for a while when I was in New York. Latin ballroom dancing is like one of my biggest passions in life, and I fully intend to be a lifelong student. But apart from being a nerd throughout my life, dancing allowed me to put my perceptiveness of the world into movement. And that perceptiveness then translates into perceptiveness of how to apply that imitation and replication towards vocalizations. I want to talk about 2 primary motivations for how people are able to learn language. Number 1, is it critical to your survival? For the most part, your body will not waste energy remembering or learning anything that is not critical. Just like muscles that are not used atrophy, the human body is evolutionarily designed to be efficient, so it gets rid of whatever is unnecessary. Languages are the same. If it's critical to you, you will keep it. If it's not, then it goes. It's about creating that criticality. So for example, what is critical? example, if you have a grandparent in the family that speaks Spanish, in order for your child to communicate with that person, Spanish becomes critical. If you're dating a French boyfriend who only speaks French, then French becomes critical. So finding elements of criticality in your environment will definitely boost your ability to learn that language. Number 2, having passion for the cultural soft power of that language. What do I mean by that? Everybody knows Blackpink, right? How you like that? Oh yeah, oh yeah. I love Blackpink, oh my god. Lisa, Jennie, Jisoo, Rosie, all of you. Oh my god, I freaking love them. So cute. Like if you love Blackpink, you're gonna pick up some Korean. That is soft power at play. Like Korea uses soft power maximally. And by extension, Korean as a language globally has, become more dominant. And then other examples would be like American hip hop, American music, Hollywood movies. These all export soft culture universally. And together with core concepts like democracy, freedom, it also exports American style English. And then Downton Abbey exports British English. Oh my god. And the fascination with like English aristocracy. I really encourage people to literally just find your favorite piece of pop culture and fully indulge in it while you're trying to learn that language. When my mom moved to Hong Kong, she learned Cantonese entirely by watching lots of Cantonese shows. The story goes for a lot of immigrants. Certainly the way to learn a language is not to waste a lot of time memorizing books. It is to find something that you love watching and listening to and then indulging in that. A third tip that I want to give for adults learning the language is if there are other activities that you do that you could somehow get a teacher to teach you in a separate language. Because I used to live in Beijing and my Chinese was very good while I was in Beijing. I had a Chinese PT, a personal trainer, and I found him to be extremely good. Now that I'm in Singapore, I continue having personal training with him via Zoom, and we just conduct these weekly sessions entirely in Mandarin. So easily for about 3 or 4 hours a week, I not only get my workout in, but I also get my Mandarin lessons in. It's not like he's teaching me anything, but he's like my conversation coach. I do pick up some very local terms that I wouldn't have otherwise known, like 手肘, 仰卧起坐. These things I don't really know just because I know Mandarin. When I was living in Beijing, we were in the same building as this famous Chinese actress, and I used to see Li Bingbing work out all the time. She's an actress in Mag, several other Hollywood productions at this point. She's definitely an A-lister in China. I noticed that every time she was in the gym, she had like an entourage of people with her. At least 2 other people. One would be her trainer, and then one would be another trainer that speaks English. So she gets her workout in and also her English lessons in at the same time. Again, maximizing your time output. Another tip, this is for parents with young kids. I think most of us don't want to give unlimited screen time to our kids. One thing you can do is find cartoons and in another language and allowing your kid to watch more of that rather than in their native language. So for example, Peppa Pig actually exists in English and Mandarin. I always tell my Chinese friends to watch Peppa Pig exclusively in English. Literally just find cartoons and songs in the language that you want your kid to learn. And then they're gonna love it.
好了，今天就分享到这里，希望大家喜欢。有问题的朋友记得给我留言，我都尽可能一一回答，因为我现在还不是很出名。大家喜欢我这个 retro earring 吗？这头发也是最近买了那个 Dyson Airwrap 之后，我觉得有一点点改善。这件是 Zara 的上衣。